So today we continue in our series on the Apostles' Creed, and we're looking at the phrase, He will come to judge the living and the dead. We believe that Jesus' life, death, and resurrection are central to what God has done to begin saving this world. But we believe that Jesus' life, death, and resurrection set those things in motion only to be completed upon his return in glory. Let's talk about why that's important. So, the first reason that a belief in the return of Jesus matters is that it tells us that the story is headed towards redemption. Now, that does not mean that Christians are naive to the problems we face, but what it means is that we have hope. We have a sense of determination and purpose and destiny that cause us to look at the problems of this world and not give up, to not fold our hands in defeat, and not to lose heart and to give in to despair. It means that Christian people can be some of the most hopeful, positive people, some of the most determined to see things turn out right, because we believe that God is at work in the world among us and within us and through us, and that we're working within his purposes and plans. Second, it means that we are to have an active faith. We are not to be passive. We have something to do as we await for Christ's return. So I saw a bumper sticker, probably a non religious person had placed on their car, and it said, "No one is coming. It is up to us." That probably is a reaction to the fact that some Christians, because they believe Jesus is returning, they think that they have nothing to do, that they can be passive, that they can be indifferent to the world around them. Nothing could be further from the truth. In Matthew 28 and in Acts chapters 1 and 2, Jesus tells us that we're not to sit around doing nothing, being passive, but we're to do an active waiting. We have things to do as we await Jesus' return. What are the things that we have to do? Well, we are to carry on the work that Jesus himself was doing until he returns. Matthew 25, Jesus says that we're to feed the hungry, that we're to clothe the naked, that we're to visit the sick and the dying and the poor and the marginalized, take up for the cause of those who cannot take up for themselves. In other words, we're to bear witness to the life and death and ministry of Jesus. We're to continue doing what he did until he returns in glory and completes that work. So, a belief in the return of Jesus causes us to be active in the world, joining God in what he is doing. Finally, a belief in the return of Jesus means that we will all have to give an account for how we've lived. There's a sense of justice that lives in the heart of human beings. We believe that things need to be set right, that they must be set right. And yet, we can think of countless examples where people have done heinous things, horrible things, oppression and murder and the oppression of others, and seemingly have gotten away with it, right? People like Chairman Mao and others have done horrendous things and yet seem to never have had to face any repercussions for their behaviors, for their decisions. The return of Jesus in glory, that he will judge the living and the dead, mean that every human being will have to stand and give an account for how they've lived. Now, this is both frightening and wonderful. It's frightening because Jesus sees through all of us. He knows our motivations. He knows the depths of who we are, both good and bad. And so, in the thought of facing Jesus' justice, the justice of God, we know that there will be no excuses, no lies, no alibis that we can give. Yet, it will not be his justice alone that we face, but also his mercy. The one who will judge humankind is the same one who died for humankind. And we can know that the God of the universe, as he judges the human race and as he judges each of us, will do absolutely right in a way no jury or human judge ever could. Well, I hope this has been helpful to you. I hope this has helped you think about that portion of our creed and why it's important to our life and faith.